In the year 2004 at E3, Nintendo announced a brand new console codenamed Revolution. And then in 2006 E3, 2 years after the announcement, Nintendo officially named the console Wii. And then later in the year, it finally launched, and it was a huge hit among the casual audience. And it was one of Nintendo's best-selling consoles ever, selling over 100 million units. And then a few years later, at 2011 E3, Nintendo announced the successor to the Wii U, which would end up being one of Nintendo's worst-selling consoles of all time and would almost lead them down a path of severe financial issues. Before going any further, I think it would be nice to have a little history lesson. In 2008, Nintendo began working on the Wii U, but due to the fact that the Wii was notorious for its casual audience, Nintendo designed the console in a specific way to try and bring back the core gamers. And Nintendo also decided that this would be their first console with HD capabilities. Also in the same year, some rumors began to come out about a Wii HD. It was rumored to have HD graphics and a Blu-ray drive. And of course, Nintendo said that all these rumors are fake and they're not working on a new console at the moment. And then in 2010, Reggie also denied the rumors. Nintendo ended up announcing a successor to the Wii in 2011 named the Wii U. In public response to said console was interesting. No one was impressed by the console and Nintendo stocks fell by 10%. And then in November 2012, the Wii U launched with mixed reviews. Critics were impressed by the gamepad, the online features, and the backwards compatibility with the Wii. But despite all that, however, the Wii U ended up selling only 13.56 million units. The Wii U also launched with only 26 games, which ain't bad, but could have been worse. But a lot of the games that were available at launch were ports. For example, Assassin's Creed, Darksiders 2, Batman Arkham City, Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed, Ninja Gaiden 3, and Mass Effect 3 Special Edition. Now, my question is, why did Mass Effect 3 get ported but not the rest of the games? Why would you port the last game of the franchise at the time of the Wii U's release, when literally all of the games are interconnected, have like this whole huge storyline going on? You can't even play those games on the Wii U. You literally have to buy a whole nother console for that. What is the point of that? Why would you do that? I'm looking at you, EA. Anyway, another port that had a similar issue to this, but to a lesser extent, is Ninja Gaiden 3. They ported the third game, but not the other two games, but I don't think anyone cares about that, especially considering the fact that Ninja Gaiden 3 was the worst game in the franchise. Something else that was quite funny is that some people, when buying the Wii U, was also kind of confused by the THQ Draw tablet for the Wii. Mostly because the names are kind of similar, but I don't see how you would get confused by that. It's kind of strange. The Wii U was also backwards compatible with Wii games, which is something that I mentioned earlier. And because of this, Nintendo introduced some new Wiimotes for the Wii U, which had Motion Plus built into them. They were named Wii Remote Plus. And another thing that came back from the Wii was Virtual Console. Kind of wish they had that on the Switch, but unfortunately we got stupid Switch Online instead. Why would I want to use a stupid subscription service to play old video games? Anyway, a lot of Wii U owners also talked about how the idea of the Wii U gamepad was neat. They also felt like that its implementation in games was pretty half-baked. And another thing that needs to be said is that the Wii U gamepad's battery life was abysmal. Like, it only lasted for 3 hours or less. And going back to another point I mentioned earlier, that a lot of Wii U owners felt like the Wii U gamepad was a forced gimmick in certain games. And one of the notorious examples of this is Star Fox Zero. Mostly because the gameplay consisted of just looking at the TV and then looking at the gamepad. It was not fun to a lot of people. Something else that the Wii U included was Miiverse. It was fully integrated into the Wii U. The home screen literally has Miiverse stuff on it. Like, you can see people's drawings and you can see what games were popular at the time. It was pretty cool. Miiverse was essentially used by the devs at Nintendo to talk about the games and updates, and also just to talk to their community and whatnot. But the thing ended up going downhill due to the fact that some people were posting just not safe for work things, and also just rowdy teens in general. Miiverse ended up dying in 2017. Anyway, the next year is on the horizon. Hopefully Nintendo will do better, right?
Hey, Mario! Look what I made!
It's a stone, Luigi. You didn't make it.
2013 came around, and you know what? It had some pretty good games, and a lot of them were Luigi related. I wonder why.
Even though he has appeared in so many games, he is still timid. after all these years. We have several games featuring Luigi that we released in 2013, so we like to call it the Year of Luigi.
Oh, so why did the Year of Luigi even exist? Well, let this interview with Shigeru Miyamoto from Polygon explain that to you. Well, Luigi has been one of our characters for many years, but we've never really had much in the way of games that have Luigi in the starring role. He's had sort of a more prominent role in the Mario and Luigi series, and there's one of those games coming out this year. But with that game and then Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon coming, we felt that it was time to make this the Year of Luigi. And from that day onward, 2013 was officially considered the Year of Luigi. Nintendo did a lot of strange stuff during the Year of Luigi, like this documentary on Luigi.
There was no one like him. In the early days, parkour was just a pastime.
Is that Pro Jared? Now, when the Year of Luigi truly began was when the games started to drop this year, such as Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, New Super Luigi U, it is technically a DLC, but whatever, and Mario and Luigi Dream Team and Super Mario 3D World. So I'm gonna be honest, I have never played half of the games on this list. I only own Mario and Luigi Dream Team and Mario 3D World, and both versions of the game, mind you, such as Wii U version and the Switch version. But I've heard good things about Dark Moon and Luigi U, so I'm not gonna say anything bad about them. But Dream Team, on the other hand, that game's kind of boring. But I really gotta finish that game one of these days. I'm gonna talk about some of the reviews for these games right quick to show that game-wise, Year of Luigi really wasn't that bad. So, Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon received a 86 on Metacritic, which is pretty good. I've heard that a lot of the people who played this game were mixed on it, mostly because of the mission-based structure, and also a lot felt that the gameplay felt pretty clunky, and also a lot of critics thought that the ghost designs were a major downgrade, which I agree with. In Luigi's Mansion, ghosts looked like this, and then in Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, ghosts looked like this. Quite the downgrade. New Super Luigi U received a 77 on Metacritic, which is not bad at all. Most people thought that this was better than the base game of New Super Mario Bros. U. I've never played it, so I wouldn't know. Critics praised it for its challenging levels and its short and sweet level design, which is something that actually came back in another Mario game, aka Super Mario Bros. Wonder. That had a lot of short and sweet levels, and some of them were quite challenging actually. Something I do find cool was that Nintendo actually released this game as a physical game, and well, it's not technically a game, but it's a DLC, but whatever. And the fact that most modern games don't do that nowadays is kind of lame, dude. Mario and Luigi Dream Team received an 81 on Metacritic. It was considered a great RPG among critics. Just like I mentioned earlier, I have not finished this game, mostly because I got bored, but I do plan on finishing the game at some point, though a lot of people have shared the same sentiment with me. Like, for example, critics criticized how the game was hand-holdy and also expressed how the game can be quite boring, and I agree with most of this, but unfortunately I do not know if Nintendo paid attention to the criticism, because from what I heard, Brothership still has some of the same issues that Dream Team had. Quite a shame. Super Mario 3D World received a 93 on Metacritic. Goodness gracious. To be honest, I don't have much to say. Mostly because this game is peak, honestly. Absolute cinema. But my only complaint is that Champions Road kind of sucks, and also I think that Wario should have been playable instead of Rosalina. Please don't kill me, Rosalina fans. Alright, it's time to talk about the elephant in the room. What? I mean, the Nintendo financial failure of 2013.
We're out of money! What? Rada? Do you know what this means, man?
Well, it seems like we finally reached this point of the video. It is time to talk about the truth about how Luigi almost killed Nintendo. I'm joking. But it is a funny coincidence how Nintendo lost so much money during the Year of Luigi, though. Okay, but let's talk about the factors that led up to this point. Okay, let's talk about the factors that led up to this situation, though. So in 2012, when the Wii U finally launched, it did not sell well. Initially, it sold 400,000 units in the US and then 425,000 in the month of November, which isn't bad, but for the UK, it was pretty bad. Only 40,000 units sold during its first week. And for Japan, it was 600,000 units in December, which is not bad. But by 2013, the console only sold 3.5 million units. Its sales were much slower than the Xbox One and the PS4. Because of this, Nintendo lost 46 billion yen, which was roughly $457 million. Money situation got so bad at Nintendo that the company lost 30% of its revenue, and because of that, Iwata legit said he was gonna cut 50% of his paycheck just so his employees would still get paid. What a legend. So the question at hand is, did Luigi really almost kill Nintendo? No, actually Luigi was one of the reasons why Nintendo survived. I'm not even kidding. All of the games during the Year of Luigi actually sold very well, especially the 3DS games. Mostly considering the fact that the 3DS sold better overall than the Wii U, and thanks to that, Nintendo survived and moved on from the Wii U and then made the Switch, which completely revitalized their company and also bought back their unending greed. And also, by the time of making this video, Nintendo has officially unveiled the Switch 2. Let's hope they don't screw it up this time, eh?